Hi there, welcome to another speed build. So today I wanted to build a house for a sim who's starting out in the new photography career that came out with the Moschino stuff pack. And I thought, why not build it in Strangerville? I don't know, I just felt for some reason like this kind of suited the aesthetic of the build I was wanting. So the idea behind it is that this sim used to be a builder, so he's kind of collected these recycled building items and has built this house himself. So we've got like corrugated iron and that cool wooden texture that came with Island Living that looks a bit worn and also comes in some cool bright prints. And so yeah, I thought he's built this himself, but he's decided he wants to switch over to the photography career and start learning with that. So there's also a small kind of starter photo studio that we do upstairs as well. So for this, I thought he's building a lot of it. So some things look kind of handmade, but then other things like the kitchen and living room. In the living room we use a lot of the furniture from the new pack, so it's quite stylish and maybe a bit more expensive. So he's probably put his budget a bit more into some of the kitchen area and living room, but then other things like the bathroom, I use this kind of, it looks like a handmade shower bath thing that he's probably put together himself. So some areas look a bit rougher than others, but that's kind of what I was going for, I guess. And originally I got inspired just by this random magazine I picked up off my shelf, and it had an article about this house this guy had made from repurposed items from or materials from a hospital. So in it, the kitchen looked really cool, and it was the same color scheme I'm doing here, but instead the corrugated iron was kind of that bright green color, quite like a turquoise, and then it had kind of a rich wooden color alongside it. So I just had to kind of switch those two over, because for the corrugated iron in the game we just have like the greys and browns, nothing too bright. So yeah, I've been playing with the Moschino stuff pack a bit, and there's not really as many clothing items as I would have thought for a pack that teamed up with a clothing brand. But I guess that's okay, because there's quite a lot of cool building items in it, like these loft style windows I'm putting in, and I ended up finding there's a matching sliding door for it, which I didn't realize at first, so I ended up going through and replacing a lot of those doors. And I wanted there to be a lot of kitchen space, and I thought I'd use those hanging mason jars that I don't tend to use very often, because I thought like it might be that he's recycled, like got those mason jars and recycled them for the purpose of lights. And I just made sure there was lots of shelving space in the kitchen as well. I wish we had more items to put on the shelves, because there's still not a whole lot that like fix onto the shelves as you move them there. So I think it'd be cool to get some more clutter items. Also, a lot of the clutter items seem to be slightly too big in the newer packs, I kind of find. Like even with just the like remote magazine stand that you put on coffee tables, I find that quite big, so I tend to downsize a lot of them. Here we're just doing the upstairs, which is just one room, which includes his bedroom off to the side and then his photography studio, because he's just kind of starting out, so it's just a small space with a couple of the studio lights. So I continue with the corrugated iron and this rich wooden texture on the outside, and I play around with how I do the half walls. Like I did continue the wooden texture up, but then I think I switched back to the corrugated iron because it has this kind of seam around it which doesn't quite work with the half walls. I don't know, you might see later what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's just quite a bright handmade kind of looking house, and I think it kind of suits the stranger area quite well because it's kind of an older area with a mismatched bunch of houses, and it's got kind of the caravan park behind it. So yeah, I also got a bunch of these plants here from the debug cheat. So a lot of them are ones you find kind of around the Strangerville neighborhood that aren't in the normal category. So I sized a lot of them down and just kind of placed them around so it kind of suits the world a bit more, I guess. And I quite like those loft windows that also came with it that are slightly open, but I do kind of wish it came with a closed version as well, just because if you're lining them all up alongside each other, it'd be nice if like some were open and closed, because I think generally you wouldn't have them all open, but that's okay. Here I think we're moving on to the living room, which is quite small but cozy, and we use lots of the Moschino new furniture items, which they come in a lot of cool colorways, but I just tried to keep it simple. But I think they would look really cool if you had a really big photography studio. Yeah, I think it all goes together quite nicely. Also, sorry if you hear a background noise. I'm not sure if the rain's gonna pick up on the microphone because it's quite sensitive, so if you hear anything, that's what that is. But I feel like this is the exact same weather as last weekend, just like pouring with rain, which I guess is to be expected because it's winter, but then during the week we'll have quite a few really nice sunny days where there's like no clouds in the sky and it's even a little warmer. But of course those are the days I'm inside at work and can't really see any of that because there's no windows in my office area. So unless I go outside for a bit at lunchtime, which I try to do, it's like I don't really see any of that. But I guess the good thing about rainy days is, I don't know, I feel kind of less guilty about being inside, like just having a day at home, whether it's baking or cooking or playing The Sims. I don't know. Whereas if it's sunny, I feel like I should really go out and do something rather than being inside all day. But today I'm just putting together some videos, doing some building in The Sims, and I thought I would bake some friand? I don't know if that's how you say it. Like the oval little cakes. And it requires you whisking the egg whites together so that it's light and fluffy. And I've done quite a fair amount of baking in my time, but I don't think I've ever mixed egg whites together for some reason. And the recipe was saying to whisk them so they're still soft, foamy, floppy peaks. And I was like, what does that mean? I've got no idea. So I watched a whole YouTube video on the different stages of when you're whisking the egg whites and how you really don't want to over whisk it. And there was like 4 different stages or something. I was like, how did I not really know about this before? So I was like whisking it with just the handheld whisk, but nothing was really happening. So I got out the electric beater, and within like 30 seconds, I think I got it to about the right stage. But then I had to like mix it in together with the almond meal and dry ingredients, and it didn't quite look so fluffy then. So I guess I'll see how it turns out, but it's just practice with anything. Here for the bathroom, I put the basin outside just around the corner there at the entranceway, and I thought the story behind that was just that the builder probably got the dimensions of that room wrong and ended up just being like, oh, it's fine, I'll just stick it outside the bathroom. So yeah, that's why it's here. And here I just build a little entranceway. I think the spacing of it isn't the best, but I don't know, I was kind of building for this sim, so everything didn't have to be too perfect. I often find it kind of more interesting if you have a sim and there's story and to build to that rather than just a generic house. It can sometimes be a bit more fun. Here I'm just doing a little bit more landscaping around the place, and I add in a basketball hoop on the side of the house, but that didn't end up working, so I put a full standing one out back in the end, which you don't see in this, but is on the lot if you decide to download it. And I just scatter quite a few pot plants around the place just to kind of make it look a bit nicer and not so bare. And I always like forget about the pipes in the game, so I end up putting a large metal one inside in the kitchen just to kind of give it more of that industrial look that is going on with it. And I think I said it before, but I think all the items that came in the Moschino stuff pack, it would be good to use them in a industrial build for the penthouse lot in the art district. So that's kind of on my list of one of the things I might build next. But here we're just coming to the end and placing a bar on the upstairs balcony, as well as one of those lounging chairs. But this will be up on my gallery as always if you would like it in your game. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!